Hi, everyone. I'm Steve here with David Wright. David is a personal trainer at Fitness for 10 in Carson City, Nevada. Thanks for being here, David.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Okay, this is a very, very common question, and we like to kind of talk about things that you get asked and things that our trainers get asked. And that one is, again, this is something really simple, but there's a lot of ways to look at this topic on when should you do your cardio? Should you do your cardio first or should you do your cardio after you lift weights? And so this is the question that's being asked to you, right?
Yeah, that's right, Steve. As a lot of people who probably watch these videos know, we have a great training program here, Fitness for 10, and a lot of things that I get asked as a personal trainer here. There's a lot of information out on the internet and through word of mouth, etc., about should you not do cardio before, should you do it after, should you do it at all these different things swirling out there, right? And so one of the things that's really important as I talk to clients, whether it's through an introductory session or through their regular training sessions with me, is cardio is definitely a great thing to do, and you need to have that. It's just for overall general health. But when you do the cardio is important too. There are a lot of things in my profession as a personal trainer where I would kind of gauge when we should do that. But the golden rule for me is, you want to generally do your cardio, other than maybe like a couple minute warm up to get your body going a little bit, after your weight training. And I talk about that a lot because there's some myths out there that you shouldn't do cardio at all, or you should do your cardio first. I tend to say do it afterwards because of the fact that we really want to put it all out on the table in our resistance training, our weight training. So we have as much energy as we possibly can have out on the gym floor, whether you're doing calisthenics, whether you're doing other types of weight training, but you have enough energy, your body has that energy still to go through whatever workout routine you're going through, whether it's a training session with me. I want my clients to be as much energy as they can beforehand, and then afterwards, if you're going to go do some cardio, whether it be in a gym or outdoors or whatever, then you can kind of run your tank empty doing that afterwards. But you don't want to run your tank half empty beforehand. Then you don't have the energy to really do your best out on the gym floor, so to speak. So that's my thought so far on that, Steve.
Yeah, what bottom line, what it gets down to, there's a lot of science with this and all that, and a ton of opinions. My opinion is the same as yours, and I'll kind of hit it from a different angle. But what it basically comes down to is preference. And age may matter. What your goals are
Mm-hmm.
would matter. What your objectives, what you're trying to do in the gym, that matters. So you put all those variables in, and then you can decide whether you're going to do your cardio before. Like maybe you're going to ride a bike for 30 minutes. Then you can decide whether you're going to do that before your workout. When I say workout, I mean lift weights, or after. But here's something that happens. Let's say you're going to go for a run. The first thing your body does, and we're not scientists, you guys do your own research, but David's just a personal trainer. I'm just a gym owner that has done this all my life. So what happens when you start to run, let's say you're going to go for a run, you're going to deplete the energy, the ATP first, in the muscle. And I'll try to keep it basic and simple. I mean, I'm not that smart, so I kind of have to keep it basic and simple. So once that's depleted, now your body's going to go more towards oxygen, which when you're using oxygen, you're actually burning more body fat. And you still need energy in the muscle. But when I was in school, I learned 80% of one, 20% of the other. So you're either going to be using 20% of the stored energy in your muscle and 80% oxygen, which is body fat, because you're kind of going through and you're basically taking that energy and you're converting it to fat. And through the process, again, I won't get into it, but you're basically burning more body fat. So if you go lift weights first and you deplete the muscles, wouldn't common sense tell you that you've depleted the muscle, so now you're going to go more to using oxygen and burning body fat? Wouldn't that common sense tell you that?
Yeah, so that definitely makes sense to me, and you make a really good point in terms of personal preference, and there's different things. So I have clients from all varieties of age ranges, skill ranges, goal ranges, all sorts of stuff. Everybody's unique in their own aspect. So there's sometimes I'll tweak a little bit here, tweak a little bit there in terms of what I'm advising each person. But because everybody is so different, but this general rule is kind of where I'm going to put it for everybody because I want them to have, again, the most energy within their muscles without getting scientific so they can perform effectively, safely, and all of those things, and then go, get that body fat off, or keep their heart rate up even more, going through cardio, whatever they're doing after, and keep that for after. So that would be the same idea that I have. I mean, in getting to your point of how kind of that works in a kind of simpler, you know, summary type of way to explain it to the viewers, I completely agree with that. And we'd want to kind of run out and burn that body fat at the end and make sure we burn out the energy in the muscle during our weight training.
Yeah, and if you reverse it, you want the ATP, the energy in the muscle, to be used for weight training.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to deplete any of that um, before your weight training. Now, that's why people take a different amount of rest in between sets. Some people will take as much as 5 minutes if they're a power lifter, they're really going for strength, because they want to let the muscles recover and put energy back in the cells, or let your body put energy back in the cells. So it goes both ways, but that's kind of how it works. But again, I would really emphasize preference. Um, a 30-minute, jog on a treadmill is your cardio, but it's also a really good warm up, right?
Yeah, so it certainly can be. And again, it really depends on preference or kind of also, you know, what is your what is your fitness level at that point? Because there's some people who, maybe they run every day, they've run their whole life, they've run for years, whatever the case might be. They're going to be different than, let's say, somebody who's a first time person at the gym, doesn't run, doesn't really do a lot of exercise, kind of deconditioned, or maybe not even deconditioned, they just don't have a lot of endurance, depending on what their health is at that moment or their fitness level. So, like, if somebody, is used to running, jogging, doing those types of things, and doing like a brisk jog on the treadmill for them is not going to be a lot of work, so to speak. It's going to be a great warm up, but it's not going to deplete them because they're more used to doing that type of activity. Then, you know what? They might be able to do 30 minutes on the treadmill, whereas client B over here isn't used to that type of activity, and that will drain them completely. So that's why, again, you're going to know to an extent, your fitness level and what you're used to. But one of the ways to kind of find that out too is maybe you're not working with a trainer and you're just going to the gym, you're watching this video, you know, figure it out at the gym yourself. Try it both ways. And go, I'm going to do 20 minutes on the treadmill, see how I feel. And, then I'm going to go do weight training, whatever that might look like for you. Then maybe, day and a half, 2 days later, you go back to the gym again and go, okay, now I'm going to try it the other way. Go do my weight training. And then I'm going to go do cardio. How much different do I feel weight training now than I did 2 days ago? Oh, I have more energy. That those two guys that were talking on that video made sense. So it's really about finding that out also for yourself. If you're not necessarily working with a trainer or fitness professional, but it generally is. That's kind of the rule that I have is going the other direction most of the time because of those reasons.
Yeah, and that's what I do. Um, so me personally, I lift weights. I lift weights 5 days a week. And then a whole different topic on the split that I do. But I lift weights 5 days a week. And then after my weight training, I do high intensity interval training. Instead of cardio, it's similar, but I'm doing HIIT, high intensity interval training, and my heart's going up and down like that. Um, and then I stretch, and I'm trying not to be hypocritical. I'm getting some stretching in after, which is very important. They're all important. So that's, for me, that's what I prefer to do. And it sounds like you do the same.
Yep.
All right. So David, if people want to get a hold of you, see what's going on with your competitions and all that, how do they find you on social media?
So I can be found at Instagram on at David Wright _fitness or at Wright Fitness Training, both on Instagram.
All right. You want to know more about me, you can go to stevemain.com and find out more about what I do. Thanks for being with us, David.
Thank you, Steve.